For my TED Talk, I am going to be talking about the book 1984 by author George Orwell, and I'm going to be talking about this book because it's a book that I really liked, and its vision and message on reality was one that really stuck with me. So I'm going to be talking about that specific subject of reality and make claims that I interpreted from the book. People in general want there to be a real world where real things, people, and situations exist. They want to prove reality exists. Reality is what people believe to be true and think that actually happened. Most of the time, it's based on objective truth, historical facts, logical conclusions, etc. In 1984, we see this when O'Brien trains Winston to view the idea that somewhere or other outside of oneself there is a real world where real things happened as a dangerous thought. What reality is and how it affects people. Perceiving what is real depends on the person, and reality exists in the mind. The existence of a real world is important because it gives people a sense of understanding to our conscience, so people could have good judgment, so people can live among each other. Reality can't be proven to be real. People have different ideas of reality, and reality can only be experienced. Perceiving what is real depends on the person. Their abilities and traits are different, so therefore the reality is different, and reality exists in the mind. The way people see or perceive things is different for everyone, and that is why people believe in different things and have different opinions. The way people understand what they have in front of them is different. In 1984, Winston and O'Brien talk about the photograph of Jones, Anderson, and Rutherford at the party function in New York. Quote, "But it did exist. It does exist. It exists in memory. I remember it. You remember it. I do not remember it," said O'Brien. Winston's heart sank. That was doublethink. But it could have been perfectly possible that O'Brien had really forgotten the photograph. Quote, Orwell 2:47. The photograph to Winston is real because he saw it and he remembers it. Reality exists in the mind. His senses allowed him to see it and remember. But for O'Brien, he doesn't remember the photograph, and it could be perfectly possible for that to happen. So to O'Brien, the photograph doesn't exist, and never existed. Different perceptions of reality cause different ideas. New ideas give the ability to share people's reality with others, and try to understand each other's perceptions. The existence of a real world is important because it gives people a sense of understanding to our conscience, so people could have good judgment, in order for people to live among each other. People help understand each other by making a common reality, a real world where things, people, and actions exist, because having that, it's more likely people won't be fighting for what they think is real. They'll have a common understanding of the real world while still having different opinions according to their judgment. In 1984, Winston thinks to himself, quote, "Besides, the party was right. It must be so. How could the immortal collective brain be mistaken? By what external standard could you check its judgment? Sanity was statistical. It was merely a question of learning to think as they thought. He accepted everything. How easy it all was. Only surrender, and everything else followed." Quote, Orwell 277. The party knew Winston was against them because of how he viewed reality and the real world, so they tried to make him understand and make him be like everyone else by torturing him. And the quote shows how in the end they got through to Winston. His opinion and judgment changed, and then had a different idea of common reality as he once did. The existence of a real world or a common reality is what makes groups of people stay together and rule over the people, the party. And the concept of common reality gives people a way of peace, because when they understand each other, people tend to get relief. Reality can't be proven to be real. People have different ideas of reality, and reality can only be experienced. People's senses, feelings, and perceptions help them decide and learn what is real. Reality can only be experienced. Everyday people experience different situations, and different realities exist in their mind. Experience takes place in the mind, so reality cannot be proven to be real in any other place other than the mind. In 1984 it reads, quote, "If he thinks he floats on the floor, and I simultaneously think I can see him do it, then the thing happens. What knowledge have we of anything, save through our own minds? All happenings are in the mind. Whatever happens in the mind truly happens." Quote, Orwell 278. The quote shows how Winston's experience when talking to O'Brien made him believe in what O'Brien thinks to be true or real. The happenings that made him believe that was real happened in the mind by experiencing it. Experiencing, learning, and deciding are all key features that make reality different, and that's why reality can't be proven to exist. Sometimes lack of information or naiveness is the cause of why people go along with others' reality and agree with what they think, but it actually can't be proven to be real. What reality is and how it affects people. Perceiving what is real depends on the person, and reality exists in the mind. The existence of a real world is important because it gives people a sense of understanding to our conscious, so people can have good judgment, so people can live among each other, and reality can't be proven to be real. People have different ideas of reality, and reality can only be experienced. People should realize that reality is different and will always be different. People will never know what truth is, and they will live their lives questioning the way things are. So in the end, people are left with only experiences and memories of their lives and their own realities.